viewers. I am your anchor Madeline, and I welcome you back to our broadcast of the Salem Show. Again, we are not in our Washington County Community Foundation studio. Because we are not at school currently, we are doing the show virtually from the comfort of our own homes. First, let's take a look at announcements from Salem High School. Only 10 days remain. We encourage each student to finish the work on Google Classroom and work to communicate your difficulties to individual teachers. SHS staff are encouraging all students to submit the work to earn the credits. Keep working to find solutions. Freshmen, Mrs. Mahiran is emailing and or calling about schedules. It's a long process. Please check your school email occasionally and respond back if she has emailed you your schedule. Let her know what questions you have about scheduling or your remote learning. Band, choir, and sign-ups at SMS are through May 15th. Students entering the 6th grade at Salem Middle School can sign up now for band, choir, or general music classes. There's a link for students to sign up on their Google Classroom accounts, or for parents and guardians may register by calling the school at 812-883-3808 during school hours. There is no charge for the sign-ups and no prior experience is needed, just the interest. Daily lessons are a part of the school day. A meeting to learn about instrument selection and rentals will be scheduled before school resumes. Students wishing to add band or choir to their 7th and 8th grade schedules may also contact the school. Now let's go over to the weather report from Bowen.
Thanks, Maddie. With spring coming in, we'll experience more rainy weather, but hopefully warmer weather. Anyways, let's get into this weekend's forecast. Friday, it will be raining with high 54 and low of 34. Saturday will be partly cloudy with high 57 and low of 40, and Sunday will be raining with high 61 and low of 42. Now let's move on to next week's forecast. Monday, it'll be high of 65 and low of 42, mostly sunny. Again, Tuesday will be mostly sunny with high 68 and a low of 53. Wednesday will be rainy with a high of 69 and a low of 52. Thursday and Friday will also be raining, with Thursday having a high of 64 and a low of 47, and Friday with a high of 65 and a low of 48. Now let's go back to Maddie.
Thanks, Bowen. Now it's time for some community news. Last week, seniors Kennedy Bruff and Addie Chastain from Salem High School organized a senior drive around the community by some of their teachers' houses. About 50 seniors went with homemade signs thanking their teachers. This was a bit of a spur-of-the-moment drive, but there is going to be another one, tentatively planned for April 24th, so more seniors can be involved. In other news, even though the Washington County YMCA is closed to the public, they are offering a child care program for healthcare workers and first responders in the area. It costs $40 per day for children ages 3 through 12. Pre-registration is required, and space is limited to the first 18 students per day. Proof of employment is required. The camp is open 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, but will be closed on Memorial Day. Additionally, there have been thousands of meals given out through the food distribution program the school has organized. We also have another encouraging quote for this week. Get going, move forward, aim high. Plan a takeoff. Don't just sit on the runway and hope someone will come along and push the airplane. It simply won't happen. Change your attitude and gain some altitude. Believe me, you'll love it up here. President Donald Trump. This quote from President Trump encourages us to keep moving. During this difficult time, we can't just sit around, do nothing, and expect change. Change just doesn't work like that. Even though it isn't normal right now, we have to keep moving forward because nothing is going to stop for us. The earth will keep moving, time will keep moving, the earth will keep spinning, so you have to keep going. And once you move, changes will bring about great things, and you'll be grateful you kept moving. Now let's head over to Nathan with sports.
Thanks, Maddie. Once again, due to the coronavirus, we still have no sports happening right now. But that doesn't mean the off-season plans and strategies have stopped. To start off, we have some local news. Big congratulations to Blair Thompson on becoming the head coach of the Salem Lions football team. I'm personally excited to see what he can do for our program and hope for great things in the upcoming season. For our next portion of local news, here is an interview I had with Coach Jerry Hickey. Hello and welcome everyone to this special Salem Lions News Network interview. Today I have the honor of being able to interview the 2020 IBCA District 3 Coach of the Year, head basketball coach Jerry Hickey. who has coached our Lady Lions basketball team to the top of the 3A class and state runner-up in this year's 2020 IHSAA state tournament. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I think everyone in the community can agree when I say that the last 3 seasons have been record-breaking for you and your team. 3 years ago, you won sectional. Last season was the first time a girls basketball team won the MSC conference and then made it to the Final Four. This season, you became back-to-back sectional champions, back-to-back regional champions, and avenged an earlier loss against the co-champions of the MSC, the Brownstown Lady Braves, for the semi-state win. What can you tell us about these achievements and what they mean to you personally and as well as a coach?
Well, personally, I'd say it means that we've got a lot of good coaches and a lot of good players. This definitely isn't something that one person or 2 people do. It's something that 25 people did. So I had just a sense of pride for our kids and our coaches to be able to accomplish all these things the last few years. And how big it is for our community, our school, everybody that's kind of jumped on board with us over these last few years. So it's been a great ride, but it's one that we don't think's over and would like to continue to build upon.
Now on to the 3 girls that made this season possible, on and off the court. At the start of the season, you told us this about what you needed from them.
Let's talk about your seniors. What do you expect out of them this year?
Leadership, probably the first thing and the most important. They're leaders on the court, they're leaders off the court. They lead by example as far as they're playing, but then as far as the grades, what they're doing in the classroom, what they do off the court, what they're doing on the weekends, those 3 are prime examples of everything that a high school athlete should be.
Let's talk about Leah Miller.
Well, and I think, to go along with that's what we needed and that's what we got. And we probably got that from them in a way that I never imagined. Obviously, with the injury to Leah, we lose her as a leader on the floor, but she really emerged as a leader off the floor. And just how vocal she was and just how excited she was during games for our girls and cheering them on. There was a timeout during the state championship game where the coaches stood back and I said, let's give it to Leah for the last 30 seconds of this timeout. And Leah addressed the girls and talked to them about how important it was what they were doing and just how fortunate they were to be able to be playing in that game. So same thing with Hope and Letty. Last year, Mac was our vocal leader, and so Hope and Letty didn't have to do that. And this year, they had to assume that role. So Hope kind of became our speaker on the court when the girls were in a situation where it was before the game and they were huddled up. Hope led that. Letty leads on the court, especially defensively, telling the other girls what to do. So I think we needed leadership out of them, and we really, really got that this year.
So obviously with Leah's injury, she had to sustain more of a hype man of the team. And you mentioned her importance to the group. Could you just add on to that and reiterate how important she was to the team?
It was huge. It was another voice for the girls that wasn't coming from a coach. So I think she's kind of that buffer between player and coach, and that's hard to do when you're still playing. But when she wasn't able to play, that made that role easier. And she truly was like another coach out there. She would talk to us. She spent a lot of time with the coaches, and she would tell us how the girls are feeling, what was going through their minds before big games. And she could give us some insight that we didn't have, and she was able to pass that on to the girls as well. She heard what we said a lot about a game as coaches, and she would translate that over to the girls. But again, I think probably more important than anything was when the girls just saw how excited she was on the bench. And I think that flowed all the way down to our bench and our bench players and even our players that weren't dressed. And so she played a huge role in us making our run.
So once again, with Leah's injury, she left a spot open in your varsity lineup. You guys decided for Callie Backrooms, who really stepped up and had a wonderful season. If you look at the stat sheet, she doesn't really stand out, but from watching the games, she looks amazing. What was the area she really stepped up in helping the team this year?
just coming in and giving us that steady ball handler. No shock to anybody on our staff or in our locker room that Callie was able to step right into that spot. We've called Callie the best point guard in her class in Southern Indiana for years, and all the way through 7th grade. We've been saying she's the best point guard in her class. So really, it was nothing new to her. She was ready for it. She's gotten varsity experience the last 2 years, and she was able to step right in. Just her steady, calming presence. She doesn't get rattled. She does a great job taking care of the ball. And I've said for years that Callie's probably the smartest defensive player that I've ever coached from the guard position. She's always in the right spot at the right time. She plays hard, quick hands. She can be a nightmare defensively, and then Callie can really shoot it as well, and she didn't get as many shots as we'd like for her to get, and that's something we hope to change for next year. I mean, I think people saw what a great player that Callie is, but next year you're going to see her stand out on the stat sheets a little bit more.
Throughout the season, you and your team faced a lot of different styles of basketball, be it the big and physical style by Brownsburg, or even the fast and furious style of Silver Creek. And of course, we can't forget the famous stall ball by Charlestown. What would you say gave you the biggest challenges that you and the girls had to adapt to either during practice or on the fly at a game?
I think overall you'd have to look at a team like Silver Creek, just based on their talent. There's not a lot of teams we play that are as talented as we are, and that's one. Their speed, same thing. We're usually the fastest team on the court, but they're very quick as well. They force you to have to guard all 5 people, and that's a little tough for our zone. So their style of play is a matchup problem. The stall ball was interesting, but you notice the first time we played them, it was a 4-point game, 20-16. The second time we were able to spend a lot of practice time prepare for that, and I think the scores were in the 40s, and we were up 16 or 18 at one point in that game. So we made some nice adjustments for that one. But overall, Silver Creek's a tough matchup, and will continue to be next year as well.
So, your 3 seniors, Leah, Hope, and Letty, are all leaving this season, or after this season, which leaves 3 open spots in your varsity lineup. Do you have any ideas as who may fill those gaps, or are you going to keep all positions open for anyone to take?
They're open every year. Even with Hope, Lee, and Letty this year coming back, their spots are open. You've got to work for them, and we've got a lot of good young players. So all 5 spots are open every game, every week. Now, in saying that, we didn't use a whole lot of different starting lineups this year. So I think those girls that started deserved it, and they earned that spot. But there's no such thing as this is Carly's spot, this is Callie's spot, this is Letty's spot. They're up for grabs every game. Now, in saying that, we have a lot of high expectations. Abigail Ratz was an all-conference and all-state honorable mention player coming off the bench. Olivia Weber just has loads of potential. Could move in and could possibly be our leading scorer next year. Bailey Hypes on the bench. Macy Tomlinson 2 years ago as a freshman in the summer was our second leading scorer, and she's been coming off the bench for us. So there's a lot of real capable players that can move into those roles. So it's going to be interesting in the summer to see who steps up and who assumes those starting positions. But none are given. They're going to be earned every week.
I mentioned the community earlier in the interview. How do you think the amount of support you and the ladies received from everyone affected your mindset throughout the season?
It's big. There's a little bit of positive. Well, there's a lot of positive and a little bit of negative, because it does put some added pressure on the girls. They want so much to do well for the community, and they see that support, and they see those little boys and girls wearing jerseys and asking for autographs. And our girls are just such good girls that's important to them, and they don't want to let people down. Their classmates ask them about games and going to state, and so they know how exciting that is for our school, and so it comes with some added pressure. On the flip side, I think we play better, we play harder, we're more enthusiastic. When the gym's full and the community's out supporting is usually when we play our best. And then to see all the fans that showed up in Indianapolis was pretty amazing, and especially at our send-off party right before we walked over to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. I mean, I don't know, it seemed like the whole town of Salem was in our hotel, and I think you see how much they appreciate good kids that work hard and put a good product on the court.
So for my final question, I'm going to have you think all the way back to the first scrimmage of the season against New Washington. You mentioned in the last interview some of the things you thought the girls could have improved upon and what they did really well. Could you tell us about how much better they have become from that scrimmage to the state finals game?
I think overall improvement from almost all of our girls. Without Leah, everybody had to step up a little bit. So you saw Carly go from being a very good role player as a sophomore to being our leading scorer as a junior. You saw her go from being a complement to some other players to being a key player. The last second shot against Silver Creek, we called a play in the huddle. We broke the huddle, and I pulled Carly aside and said, listen, if you get the ball and you've got a lane, put your head down and drive, go score. And that's exactly what she did. And so I think the confidence that we have in a player like that to be able to say that's huge. Abigail's development was huge. I mean, she goes from not hardly playing varsity as a freshman to making all-state honorable mention. Natalie, again, great strides. She played more, especially in our tournament run as a freshman, but she's an all-state honorable mention player. And then you've got, Hope and Letty. Letty was so big for us on defense and rebounding, as she always is. Hope stepped up her leadership and her scoring, just her consistency. Hope doubled her rebound average this year from what she's ever had. So I think they all just kind of took it upon themselves to improve in every facet, and they did, and that was big. So that challenge early on, they really met that, and that's why we were able to go on the run we went on.
Well, once again, thanks for taking time out of your day as a principal to sit down and discuss the wonderful season you and the ladies had. One that I'm sure will go down in everyone's book, especially for the ones that had the opportunity to witness any of the games.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now on to some national news. If you follow the NFL and are a Colts fan, you may have heard about their recent logo change. But did you know that there is some controversy on said logo? That's right. Irish Cathedral High School, located in Indianapolis, claims the Colts may have stolen their logo. As of right now, the Colts have not said anything on the topic, but I will keep you posted if or when they do. And that's all for sports. Now over to esports news with Jared.
Thank you, Nathan. As you can see, I'm not Jared, but I still have the esports news. Although typical sports are out of season, the world of esports continues on. In fact, some divisions see COVID-19 as an opportunity to simulate real-life events. NASCAR Texas hosted an iRacing Series event last weekend that brought in 1.3 million TV viewers. A record for any esports-related programming. NBA players also got together to participate in the first NBA 2K Players Tournament. Besides general sports being translated into the digital age, content creators have taken the COVID-19 outbreak as a chance to give back to the world. Creators on Twitch, a game streaming service, recently raised $2.766 million to combat the spread of the virus. Recently, a well-known NASCAR driver, Kyle Larson, was caught using a racial slur during an iRacing event. He has been fired from his Chip Ganassi Racing, and many of his sponsors have cut ties with the driver. He will most likely not make an appearance in NASCAR field anytime soon. This is a great example of how words can affect our life, whether it is jokingly or not. Now, on to Maddie.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching today's episode of The Salem Show. I'm your anchor, Madeline, signing off. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to tune in next week to our virtual broadcast of The Salem Show, brought to you by the Washington County Community Foundation. Please leave us a comment below about what you thought about the show, or let us know what you would like to hear about in future broadcasts.